The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I'm indeed honoured to speak on this bill. With the sad departure of our good colleague and friend, Honourable Winnie Laban, I'm now on the Health Select Committee, so it's good to be thrown in the deep end, I guess. So be warned, yes, an old cynic coming to the Health Select Committee, someone who has been around for a wee while and actually smiles when I read some of the notes on the bill here and hear some of the speeches, because I can remember Jenny Shipley as Minister of Health making statements about the efficiency of having mini cheese, the efficiency of having competition in health, so that even in Christchurch, where there were 2 cheese set up on the basis that the competition there would deliver efficiency, better outputs, more money to the front line. This, of course, was at the same time when the national government brought in charging for hospital beds. So if you ended up in hospital, you paid, I think it was about $100.
Cash registers.
$100 per night.
Yep.
This was abhorrent and contributed to the defeat of the national government and its silly ways in 1999. And I suggest it was nine long years of national government. You're dead right, Mr Williamson. And he can remember all these things, because we had a policy at that time that said many competitors and participants and a split of funders and providers and everyone else, have them all fighting and scrapping and would see efficiency. Well, when we came into government, we realised that was simply not working. Yes, we did put billions of dollars into the health system, and we did bring some alignment. And what we also did, we put up nurses' pay. There was a huge amount to try and retain people in this country. What we had was a realisation that there had to be better alignment and there had to be strategic thinking in health. Now, this bill talks along those lines. It talks along those lines. But I haven't seen strategic thinking coming from the National Party or from many of the champions of business that they go on about and use as exemplars in terms of business management. Well, I welcome any move to strategic thinking. But unfortunately, Tony Ryall's moved away from that. What we did with strategic thinking is said that primary health care is the smartest way to spend money in this country. And I know there are members on the other side who understand health and who know this is true. Getting in at the front line early on, reducing the cost of seeing GPs and getting medical help when needed, reduces the cost over time. But what we've seen since National came into power was an absolute determination to focus on measurements, not around long-term strategic goals, around public health, around mental health, around areas where money spent can reduce our long-term costs. No. What's the minister done? He's measured hip replacements.
That's right.
The odd knee, but the knees are, of course, a bit more complex. So the measurement of the success of health has been on elective surgery once again. And that is destined to fail, because it is short-term, populist, political. The waiting times. The members say elective surgery, waiting times really important, the number of people waiting for hips. Well, we know, of course it does, improve the quality of life for all of those people. But those people also, those people who might wait a month less for a hip replacement now, understand full well the wisdom in investing in primary health care in their grandchildren, to make sure that their sons and daughters and grandchildren can take their children to the doctor when need be. They understand the wisdom of that investment. But that's not where the government's gone. I've looked through the notes here, Mr Speaker, in the bill, and I applaud some of the things that have happened. And if we end up in the area of procurement with a model like Farm Act, then I say good on the government. Farm Act is a highly successful model. It is. I have fears of course, because John Key was talking with the Americans about free trade deals and all the rest of it. And in fact, he came back to this country and said the issue of pharmacs and pharmaceuticals might have to be opened up again. He said that, having come back from the US on one of his early trips. I don't know what's caused a change of mind, whether it is the collective wisdom of many of the people in his caucus who do know that Pharmac is brilliant. We do not want to muck around with a model that's successful. Even Morris Williamson understands that. Right-wing as he is, erratic as he is, he understands, and good on you, Morris, I say, or good on you, Mr Williamson, good on you, Minister, that Pharmac is brilliant. And please do not play around with it. But you know full well that your Prime Minister, well, that's right, there was an intervention, but we won't go there. Let's just move on. Mr Speaker, that is the best thing that I can see in this bill, is that if we move to national procurement, to some centralised purchasing of some core materials and goods necessary for all DHBs, then that is likely to save us a whole lot of money and give us some strength when we negotiate with many providers of highly technical things in health, and they often have the whip hand. We no longer accept the word of the GP or the specialist. People now go online, they find out what is available throughout the world. So we are forced, and there's nothing wrong with it, to try and provide the very best we can for people, New Zealanders, up and down the country, Mr Speaker, in terms of apparatus, equipment and healthcare, and that's the way it should be. There is a price associated with it, and health is the bottomless pit. We know that. There will be demand, so the question is, where do we draw the line, and for what reasons do we draw the line? And the problem is at the moment that the national government is drawing the line and making measurements around elective surgery, waiting times for elective surgery, and outputs or throughputs, or what do they call them now? They'll probably change them. Elective surgery. I get confused myself. I think we might have changed it once or twice ourselves, I have to confess. But anyway, bottom line is that outputs from the health system are measured, and they are now focused around elective surgery. We are trying to measure and improve the overall health of society. And if you take the US, and it's often held up by the National Party as a wonderful place, and the best management and systems, although probably taken, the member over there probably hasn't been around long enough to hear some of the speeches in his house about the wonderful US management. And I have to say that Mr Williamson knows, he knows, like Mr Lockwood-Smith, the Speaker, Lockwood-Smith, I have to say that, and I don't like to speak of the Speaker in his absence, but I know that he has been to the States and thinks that there are some wonderful examples of management right through government and through industry. I'm not trying to discredit that. That may or may not be true, but in the US they spend almost twice as much as we do, and overall their health health status is no better than ours. So what we have is something that we should guard jealously, and that is a hands-on system of management, consultation with the community, that allows the community to make judgments on what are important issues for their region in terms of healthcare. And this bill, unfortunately, takes away the obligation to consult with local communities. And my community on the West Coast is totally different from that in South Auckland. I would not like to be making judgments on what are the priorities for healthcare in South Auckland, because I don't know. That community does. This bill takes away the obligation from the DHB that is mandated to care for people in their region, all the healthcare. It takes away the obligation to consult. And I'm scared that people sitting on their chaps here in Wellington, under the Minister's direction, will make decisions on what is the best healthcare for South Auckland, for North Auckland, for Northland. It is not the right way to do it. So while consolidation and procurement may be a good thing, consolidation in some areas of healthcare decision-making is not all good, Mr Speaker. And so while we do support the bill in general terms, Mr Speaker, I have to say that we don't think that the savings that the Minister claims will be made will eventuate. We do hope that there are